everybody, and welcome to episode 41 of Books Cubed, the show where I chat with the indie authors that you should be reading. Usually. Today, though, I am, as you can see behind me, I'm in a hotel room. We had to evacuate because of Dorian, and then we kind of stayed evacuated because we went to Disney World. So by the time this airs, I'll be back home, but at the moment I'm having a lovely time at Star Wars. And I thought that I would chat a little bit about that because I had to cancel all of my interviews and then it was just too hard to reconnect with people, and I'm hoping to get everything back to normal once I get back home. So I am going to just jump right in. It's going to be a super short show. We went we actually came last week for the opening of Star Wars, and we got up at 3 in the morning and we went over. We were going to tailgate, but then it turned out that everybody just went to the gate and got in line, and they went ahead and let us all in early. So we were in the land. It was supposed to open at 6, but we got inside at about 4:15, something like that. And by 6:30, we were already done and off to other parts of the park. They had the whole park open, Hollywood Studios. So we went off to Toy Story Land and did all kinds of stuff there. And then we went back to the hotel and took a nap. And then we went, I think, to the Magic Kingdom or something. Or we might have gone home. I can't remember now. It's been, I think it was last Wednesday, maybe Thursday. Anyway, so I'm just going to jump right into photos. So I've got, if you are listening, you may want to watch this on video because I've got a bunch of photos from that day. I'll describe them. But you might have more fun actually watching. So you can find the show on YouTube, and I'll have a link in the podcast show notes of how to find the show on YouTube. So let's get right to it. We arrived at about 3 a.m. and I naively thought that there would be hardly anybody in the parking lot, and it was absolutely madness. We parked in row 3, and I was really surprised that we were that close considering how many people. So the other side of the parking lot must have already been filled. And we met a lot of people in line, had a lot of fun, and actually ended up holding on to each other as we maneuvered through the crowd as it pushed forward. Then sometime after 3:30, they started moving people into the park because there were such large crowds behind us. So I got just a little bit of video once we had gone a portion of the way, and J.J. Abrams would be sort of proud of me. I've got some lens flares going there. I just have a really sucky cell phone. And we were just so packed. There were so many people. And I shouldn't be surprised because there are so many Star Wars fans out there. But I was surprised that there were this many people that got up so early in the morning to go check out the opening day of Star Wars Land. And I don't know, I just shouldn't be surprised, I guess. It was really, well, surprising. Okay, so here we are at the entrance, and you can see this is where you're going to go through, and you're going to get into the Star Wars Land. And then as you're going inside, they've got the sound of spaceships landing and taking off. And I think I heard tower announcements of the incoming spaceships, but I could be wrong. I am just learning to hear again with my new cochlear implants, and it could have been just somebody talking behind me, and my husband's not here to ask, so I will just go with it's probably tower announcements, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. So here we are. There's tons of really interesting detail. Everything looks like it was in some sort of space battle. There's lots of rust, there's lots of droids, and there's lots of mechanical things on walls. They have their own language even, which is really, really cool. And you can use the Play app once you're inside the park, and you can get sent on missions to do things and get points. And I didn't do that much. I was just too busy walking around and looking at everything. I'll come back at a later date and do that more because it looked pretty detailed. Now this is the inside of the make your own droid shop. You buy all the things you need first and then you go create it. I did not look inside the build your own lightsaber shop. There was a really, really long line. Here's some more of the street scenes inside Star Wars Land. And the restrooms Had to get shots inside those. Very futuristic, very post-apoc looking, lots of exposed pipes, lots of metal, just very, very cool, and lots of stalls, which is really important for us ladies. So let's see, what is next? Oh, okay. So this is the cantina, and we didn't go inside here either. There were just such long lines for everything. Some of these shots are daylight when I went back a second time to get better look at things. This is where there's supposed to be some kind of a stage, either a show or where they're signing autographs, probably signing autographs. Somebody was telling me something about it, but it was just a little too hard to hear. Lots of places where you can stand next to droids and or farming equipment or futuristic looking things and get photos taken. And this was a good one to sit at to wait for people. Now here is the big feature of the land, and that is the Millennium Falcon. It was very, very cool. It is life-size. And here is the line. It is 5:30 in the morning, and it is already 300 minutes to wait for the ride. And when we left at like 6:30, the line was supposedly 9 hours long. And I'm not sure if anybody stood in that line. Crazy. So you get inside the Millennium Falcon, and I rode single rider, and it took about an hour. And there's 2 pilots, 2 engineers, and 2 gunners. The gunners sit in the middle seats. And everybody has an assigned job. If you're a pilot, the 2 of you share directions that you fly, supposedly, and I didn't really pay too much attention to it because I was so far back, I really couldn't see what they were doing. If you're an engineer, I would recommend just kind of looking ahead and occasionally looking for flashing buttons that you can push. But if you spend too much time looking at the panel, you're going to miss what's going on the view screen. This is the chess game that Chewbacca and C-3PO were playing, and people were taking turns sitting there and getting their photos taken, and I had to kind of wait a little while to get over and get a shot. The first day, that opening day, they were letting people take a long time to wander around inside the Millennium Falcon. There's a lot to look at, and at one point somebody set off an alarm, and then we had to run around trying to figure out how to shut the alarm off. So that was kind of cool. This is inside the cockpit, and you have the 2 pilots at the front, the gunners in the middle, and the engineers in the back. And then it moves, the ship moves, and when you hit things, oh my gosh, it really jostles you. And this is the gunners display, and the buttons will light up so you know what you need to push. And the more you ride it, the more you get better at glancing over to see what you need to push and then looking back at the front to follow what's going on, because if you're looking at the side and your pilot hits something, it is very jarring. Here's some more of the local language as you exit the Millennium Falcon. And they have on the brochure of what's in the park, they have an alphabet showing you, so you can go through and you can read what the different signs say. This is one of the cast members who was dancing around. We were having fun chatting with her, and I believe that might have been the entrance to Rise of the Resistance. These are some of the adorable homemade dolls that they had, and I bought 2, Chewbacca and Rey. And I think every time I go back, I will probably grab at least one. And we, of course, grabbed the opening day pins. I didn't get a t-shirt just because they really weren't that good looking. That one was white and one might have been black. I can't remember, but just not great colors. And the stormtroopers, there was a few walking around, and they will go out of their way to walk through people and then tell you to get out of the way. And sometimes you will see Kylo Ren walking around, and he's got the stormtroopers clearing a path for him. So that is it. If you go, make sure you bring plenty of cash. There is a lot of cool stuff to buy. I'm not buying that Leia costume. It was way too expensive. But there's a lot of really cool things there. Thanks for joining me this week. I will be back to talking about books next time, I hope. I am working to reschedule everybody that I had to postpone because of my family emergency and then Dorian. So when it rains, it pours, huh? It really does. What did you think of the show this week? Do you like Star Wars? Drop down to the show notes and let me know. Will you be coming out to Disney World or Disneyland to check it out? And let's see, if you got any books that you want to recommend? I forgot to ask in the very beginning. Definitely let me know. I'm always looking for good books to read. If you are listening on the podcast, you can drop down to the show notes and there's a link. And if you are on YouTube, you know what to do. And like I said, I'm going to go. I will see you next time. And in the meantime, go read a good book.